Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahima wa ala ali Ibrahima innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahima وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربنا زدنا علما يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلبي على دينك آمين. Surah Al-Baqarah. Today we will do the sixth part of the surah, in which we will complete from verse number 104 till 120. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقولوا راعنا وقولوا انظرنا واسمعوا وللكافرين عذاب أليم. O you who believe, do not say Raina, but say Unzurna, and herein a painful punishment is reserved for the disbelievers. Part of the insolence displayed by the Jews was that they used to tell Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam Raina. This word may be translated in both the Arabic and the Hebrew languages. In Arabic, it would mean consider us, whereas it is curse in Hebrew. When addressing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they intended the Hebrew meaning of the word, but because of the Arabic meaning of the word, they made it appear to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the other Muslim that they were actually requesting Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's attention. Allah says in verse 46 of Surah Nisa, some of the Jews alter words from their context and say, we hear and we disobey, and listen in a manner that you do not listen. Distorting with their tongues and taunt the deen, they say Raina. If only they said, we hear and we obey, do listen and do grant us consideration, it would have been better for them and more ethical. However, Allah has cursed them because of their disbelief, so that only a few of them believe. According to the Arabic language, the Sahaba Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhum used to say, Raina, Ya Muhammad, look to us. O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Hazrat Sa'd bin Mu'adh Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu, who understood the Hebrew language, noticed the Jews' language amongst themselves. Whenever they say Raina, Ya Muhammad, he warned them never to use those words again. Otherwise, he would kill them. When they objected that the Muslims also use these words, Allah revealed the verse, O you who believe, do not say Raina, but say Unzurna and Hirikan. A painful punishment is reserved for the disbelievers, narrated by Malumat-e-Tanzil, Volume 1, page 102. Bayanul Quran mentions that this verse teaches Muslims to abstain from any permissible deed if the possibility exists that the deed could lead to a sin. A Muslim scholar will therefore not to permit it to perform any permissible act which another person may misconstrue, leading him to fall into sin when trying to do the same. Of course, this will only apply to acts that are not compulsory. If an act is compulsory, it will have to be carried out even though people may misconstitute it. Allama Jassas Rahimullah writes in Ahkamul Quran that any word which could have either a good or a bad meaning must not be used unless additional words are added to restrict the meanings to the good one. It is also learned that it is not permissible to use any words that will cause people to laugh and mock. Allama Ibn Kathir Rahimullah states that the version prohibits Muslims from emulating the words and deeds of the kuffar. Thereafter, he quotes a hadith from the Musnad of Ahmad in which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, the one who emulates a nation is from them. Therefore, a Muslim must not imitate the dressing, acts of devotion, mannerism, words and actions of the kuffar. Volume 2, page 148. Many hadiths have strictly prohibited Muslims from using words that have an evil or inappropriate meaning. It is for this reason that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has prohibited Muslims from calling anyone Shahan, Shahanshah, the king of all kings. Such a word can only be used for Allah, narrated by Mishkat. In the same regard, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam changed the name of a girl named Asiya, sinner, to Jamila. He also prohibited people from calling their male slaves Abdi, my slave, and their female slave Amati, my slave, woman, because every person is Allah's slave. He advised them to rather refer to their slaves as Gulami or Jariyati, narrated by Mishkat. Now, verse number 105. ما يود الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب ولا المشركين أن ينزل عليكم من خير من ربكم والله يختص برحمته من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. The disbelievers from the people of the book and the idolaters do not like that any good is revealed to you from your Rabb, but Allah focuses His mercy on whomsoever He pleases. Allah is one of extreme benevolence. When the Muslim invited the Jews to accept Islam, they replied by saying that Islam is no better than their own deen. They said that if Islam was better than Judaism, only then would they accept. Allah refuted this statement by revealing the verse, O Muslims, the disbelievers from the people of the book and the idolaters do not like that any good be revealed to you from your Rabb. The Jews detested the fact that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was from amongst the progeny of Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam, that is the Arabs, and not from amongst the progeny of Hazrat Ishaq alayhi salam, that is the Jews. The mushrikeen detested Islam because it restricted their carnal passions and opposed their gods. Allah dispels their misgivings by saying that He is not bound to do as others desire, but Allah focuses His mercy on whomsoever He pleases. Allah is one of extreme benevolence. None has the right to question Allah's decision. Narrated by Malumat-e-Tanzil, Volume 1, page 103, and Ruhul Mani, Volume 1, page 350. Allama ibn Kasir writes that Allah expresses the enmity of the Jews and the Mushrikeen in this verse so that the Muslims do not develop any affinity or companionship them. Allah refers to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and all the mu'mineen in the phrase whomsoever He pleases. Verse number 106. ما ننسخ من آيات أو ننسها نأتي بخير منها أو مثلها ألم تعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير. Whenever we repel any verse or cause it to be forgotten, we bring something better to equivalent to it. Do you know that Allah has power over all things? Verse number 107. Alam ta'lam anna allaha lahu mulku samawati wal ard wa ma lakum min dunillahi min waliyyin wala nasir. Do you not know that the dominion of the heavens and the earth belongs to Allah? Besides Him you have no protecting friend nor any helper. Allah has abrogated many laws. It is possible, for example, for something to be outlawed, although it could be made permissible afterwards. Sometimes a law may be replaced by another. The mushrikeen criticized this when they said Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says things that he later retracts. If the Quran was from Allah, there would not have been any abrogation. Allah says in Surah Nahl, when we replace a verse with another, and Allah knows best what He reveals, they say, you are but a perjurer. But most of them have no knowledge. Verse number 101. Whenever we repel any verse to cause it to be forgotten, we bring something better or equivalent to it. Laws were abrogated because the later law was intended to make matters easier for the Muslims without compromising the reward to be attained. Therefore, abrogation is in the best interest of people. Abrogation may assume several forms. These are: 1. At times, a law was abrogated while the relevant verse still remained in the Quran. This is termed as mansukhul hukm. An example of this is the law that states that a woman should seclude herself for a year after her husband has passed away. However, this law was repealed, but the applicable verse still remains in the Quran. The relevant verses, those of you who are about to die and leave their wives behind, should be quick unto their wives, a provision for a year or so as not to turn them out of their homes, narrated by Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 242. At times the law still applied while the relevant verse was abrogated. This is referred to a mansukhut tilawa. As example of this is the law of rajam, when a married adulterer is stoned to death. 3. Another form of abrogation concern a law which was replaced with another. For example, the initial law to face Baitul Muqaddas in Salah was replaced with the command to face towards the Kaaba. Another example is the command that demanded that a bequest be made in favor of one's relatives. This law was changed by the verse of inheritance. 4. It has also occurred that certain laws were abrogated without any replacement being revealed. An example of this is command to test the women when they migrate, which is contained in verse 10 of Surah Mumtinha. 5. Another law and verse were completely removed from the Quran and erased from people's mind. Certain ulama have mentioned that the volume of these verses were as long as Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Ahzab. They were completely removed without any trace of their words and their laws. Darul Mansur reports from Hazrat Sahil bin Hanif Raziallah Ta'ala anhu that a certain Sahabi Raziallah Ta'ala anhu intended to recite a particular surah in the Tahajjud Salah, but could not recall anything besides Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The same transpired with many Sahaba Raziallah Ta'ala anhum on the same night. When they reported the incident to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "The surah was abrogated last night and erased from people's heart and from all places where it was recorded." Do you not know that Allah has power over all things? Allah can preserve verses as they are or cause them to be erased forever. According to His perfect wisdom, He does as He pleases. Do you not know that the dominion of heavens and the earth belongs to Allah? If He chooses to punish you, then remember besides Him you have no protecting friend nor any helper. Verse number 108. Am turiduna an tas'alu rasulakum kama su'ila Musa min qabl wa man yatabaddal al-kufra bil imani faqad zalla sawa as-sabil. Or do you wish to question your messenger like how Musa was questioned before? The one who exchanges disbelief for belief has certainly strayed from the straight path. Malumat-e-Tanzil reports that the Jews once asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why don't you present the Quran as a complete book from the heavens like Musa alayhi salam did?" According to another narration, the mushrikeen of Makkah told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that they would only believe in him if they saw Allah and his angels before them. The above verse was revealed in response to such demands. Allah commands that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam must not be asked to do those things that the Bani Israel asked Hazrat Musa alayhi salam to do. The Bani Israel even asked Hazrat Musa alayhi salam to show Allah to them. There is no need to make such request because the truth has already been made manifest in many other ways. However, they ask merely as an objection and will not accept even when it is shown to them. Allah asks in Surah Qasas, verse number 48, when the truth from us comes to them, they say, why is he not given what was given to Musa? Did they not deny what was given to Musa from before? They said they are both magicians assisting each other, and they also said, we reject each one of them. Muslim reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once told the Sahaba radhiyallahu ta'ala anhum, O people, Hajj has been made compulsory on you, so perform it. Thereupon someone asked, is Hajj compulsory every year? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam remained silent. The question was repeated thrice. Thereafter, the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if I had to say yes, Hajj would become compulsory on you every year, which you would not be able to do. Leave me as long as I will leave you. That is, do not ask about something I do not tell you. The previous nations are destroyed because they ask their Anbiya many questions and then oppose their commands. When I issue any instruction, fulfill it to the best of your ability. If I forbid something, refrain from it. Volume 1, page 432. Hazrat Mughira bin Shoaib Raziyallahu ta'ala narrates from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Allah detests vain talk, excessive questioning, and wasting money. Narrated by Mishkat, page 419. Now, verse number 109. وَدَّ كَثِيرٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ لَوْ يُرَدُّونَكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ إِيمَانِكُمْ كُفَّارًا حَسَدًا مِّنْ عِنْدِ أَنفُسِهِمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الْحَقُّ فَاعْفُوا وَاصْفَحُوا حَتَّى يَأْتِيَ اللَّهُ بِأَمْرِهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. Many of the people of the book wish that they could return you to be disbelievers after you have believed. This is due to jealousy from within after the truth has become apparent to them. Pardon and overlook till Allah issue His command. Undoubtedly, Allah has power over all things. Verse number 110. وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ وَمَا تُقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ مِنْ خَيْرٍ تَجِدُوا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. So establish salah, pay zakah. You shall find with Allah whatever good you have sent ahead for yourself. Verily Allah is watchful to what you do. Besides not believing despite being convinced of the risalat prophethood of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Jews left no stone unturned to prevent the Arabs from becoming Muslims. They even went to the extent of attempting to convert those who had already accepted Islam. Allah cautions the Muslims to be aware of them in the above verse, saying, many of the people of the book wish that they could return you to the disbelievers after you have believed. This is due to jealousy from within after the truth has become apparent to them. At the time when the verse was revealed, the Jews were still in a powerful economic position while the Muslims had not yet entrenched a firm foothold in Medina. Therefore, Allah commanded the Muslims, pardon and overlook till Allah issues His command. Undoubtedly, Allah has power over all things. Allah has the power to change situation. Consequently, the time came when the Jewish tribe of the Bani Nazir were banished to Khaybar and the Bani Qurayza were executed. Thereafter, Allah says, to so establish salah, pay zakah, you will find the Allah whatever good you have sent ahead for yourself. In the above verse, Allah advises the Muslim to establish salah after already commanding them to exercise patience with the words, pardon and overlook till Allah issues His command. This confirms with verse 45 and 153 of Surah Baqarah, where Allah advises, seek assistance with patience and salah. Muslims can attain victory over their enemies by performing good deeds that will secure success in both worlds. Verily Allah is watchful of what you do. Allah will reward or punish people according to their deeds. Hazrat Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu ta'ala reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, When a person gives even a single date in charity from halal source, Allah only accepts halal. Then Allah will nurture and develop the reward for this just as a person grows up his little pony. Eventually, the reward grows so big that it equals the size of a mountain. Narrated by Bukhari, Volume 1, page 189. Next two verses, 111. وَقَالُوا لَنْ يَدْخُلَ الْجَنَّةَ إِلَّا مَا كَانَ هُدًى أَوْ نَصَارَى تِلْكَ أَمَانِيُّهُمْ قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. They say, none but a Jew or a Christian will enter Jannah. This is their hope. Say, produce your proof if you are truthful. Verse number 112. Bala man aslama wajhahu lillahi wa huwa muhsinun falahu ajruhu inda rabbi wala khawfun alayhim wala hum yahzanun. However, the one who surrenders himself to Allah and does righteous deeds shall find his reward with his Rabb. Neither will fear overtake them, nor shall they grieve. They say, none but a few or a Christian will enter Jannah. The Jews claim that Jannah was reserved for them, while the Christians claim that only they may enter Jannah. Despite adulterating the scriptures and denying Allah's Anbiya, these people have the audacity to claim their places in Jannah. Due to the baseless nature of their claim, Allah says this is their hope. Allah then commands that they should be asked, produce your proof if you are truthful. They have absolutely no proof for their claim to be the chosen people. Verse 18 of Surah Maida quotes them as saying, we are Allah's children and beloved. How can anyone be close to Allah when they subscribe to polytheist beliefs and reject Allah's messengers? They believe these things to appease their conscience and also because of the mislead advice of their leaders. The Jews' religion is central because they believe that only their people can be Jews. They do not propagate their religion because they feel that their religion is reserved for them only. They believe that only they have been guided and that the rest of mankind should have no religion from Allah. The Christians do not even follow the religion brought by Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. They claim that he told them that he was Allah's son and that he commanded them to worship him and his mother. They also claim that Hazrat Isa alayhi salam told them that he will be killed and that Allah had his son killed to serve as salvation of all mankind. However, they have fabricated all these claims and have nothing to prove that these claims are true. The Christians accept all these claims because of convenience. It is all too easy to endlessly commit sins and have them all forgiven by the priest the following Sunday. In this stupor, they even concede to the priest as being Allah's duty. Despite all these made up beliefs, the Christians claim their right to Jannah. This is nothing more than their wishful thinking. People of many other religions also entertain the wishful thinking with regard to themselves. However, none of them can prove that their religion can secure salvation for them in the hereafter. It is strange that these very people eat and enjoy Allah's bounty, yet offer their elegance and devotion to other gods, wishfully expecting to attain Jannah. Allah describes the people worthy of Jannah when He says, however, the one who surrenders himself to Allah and does righteous deeds shall find his reward with his Rabb. Neither will fear overtake them, nor shall they grieve. This verse contains the perception for entry into Jannah which any person can use. The Arabic word muhsin, translated above as does righteous deeds, is derived from the root word ihsan, which refers to a person who performs an act properly, of whose beliefs are correct. Certain commentators have translated muhsin as sincere. Therefore, the muhsin will be one whose belief conform to what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught. Whoever does not conform to these beliefs cannot be termed a Muslim and therefore cannot secure Jannah for himself. Similarly, the person whose deeds do not confer to the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as well as the one whose deeds are not carried out sincerely for Allah's pleasure, will have his or her deeds rejected. Such a person will therefore receive no reward in the hereafter. Allah says in the concluding verse of Surah Kaf, so whosoever aspires for the meeting within Rabb should perform good deeds and not associate anyone as partner to the worship of his Rabb. If the kuffar perform a deed sincerely for Allah's pleasure, it will not be accepted because of their corrupted beliefs. With regard to their deeds, Allah says in verse 23 of Surah Furqan, we will then turn to their deeds and reduce it to scattered dust. If anyone should say that the verse does not specify that a person needs to be a Muslim to enter Jannah, we will be told that the phrase, the one who surrenders himself to Allah and does righteous deeds, that is, in a Muhsin, will automatically disqualify non-Muslims. Besides this, other verses specify this condition. For example, Allah says in Surah Al-Imran, whosoever seeks a religion besides Islam, it shall never be accepted from him, and he will be in the hereafter amongst the losers. Narrated verse number 85. Now verse number 113. وقالت اليهود ليست النصارى على شيء وقالت النصارى ليست اليهود على شيء وهم يتلون الكتاب كذلك قال الذين لا يعلمون مثل قولهم فالله يحكم بينهم يوم القيامة فيما كانوا فيه يختلفون. The Jew says the Christians are upon naught, while the Christians say the Jews are upon naught, whereas they recite the scriptures. Those who have no knowledge say exactly what they say. Allah will judge between them on the day of Qiyamah concerning the matters in which they differ. Darul Mansur, volume 1, page 108 reports from Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu that the Jews were present with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam when the Christians of Najran came to him. One of the Jews by the name of Rafi bin Harmila said to the Christians, you people have no basis, nor did you ever have. In saying so, he rejected the Risalat, prophethood of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam as well as the Injil. Thereupon a person from a Christian said, you people are upon naught, that is, your religion has no source. In this way, he also became guilty of refuting one of Allah's Anbiya, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, and his book Torah. It was with reference to this dispute that Allah revealed the above verse saying, the Jews say the Christians are upon naught, while the Christians say the Jews are upon naught, whereas they recite the scriptures. Based on their knowledge of Torah and the Injil, both parties were aware of the fact that Hazrat Musa alayhi salam and Hazrat Isa alayhi salam were Allah's Anbiya. Those who have no knowledge say exactly what they say. That is, people of the nation prior to the Jews and the Christians are rejected the truth, just like the Mushrikeen of Makkah rejected the apostleship of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. However, Allah will judge between them on the day of Qiyamah concerning the matters in which they differ. The truth will then become apparent from falsehood for all to see. Allah says in Surah Sabah, verse 26, say, our Rabb will gather us and then decide between us with the truth. The author of Bayanul Quran writes that Allah will decide practically between them by dispatching the people of falsehood to Jahannam and the people of the truth to Jannah. The theoretical decision has already been made in this world via various logical and other proofs. Now verse number 114. وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنْ مَنَعَ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهِ أَنْ يُذْكَرَ فِيهَا اسْمُهُ وَسَعَى فِي خَرَابِهَا أُولَئِكَ مَا كَانَ لَهُمْ أَنْ يَدْخُلُوهَا إِلَّا خَائِفِينَ لَهُمْ فِي الدُّنْيَا خِزْيٌ وَلَهُمْ فِي الْآخِرَةِ عَذَابٌ عَظِيمٌ. Who can be more unjust than the one who prevents the name of Allah being taken in the masajid and exerts himself for his ruination? These people may only enter therein in fear. There shall be humiliation in this world and a terrible punishment in the hereafter. Malumat-e-Tanzil, Volume 1, page 107, reports from certain commentators that the above verse was revealed with reference to the mushrikeen of Makkah when they prevented Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba radiyallahu ta'ala anhum from entering the Masjidul Haram to perform Umrah. Masajid, plural of masjid, are constructed for salah, recitation of the Quran, zikr, etc. Tawaf also take place in Masjidul Haram. Preventing people from these acts will result in the ruination of a masjid, while the mushrikeen thought that they were maintaining the Masjidul Haram as its custodians. They were actually contributing to its ruination by placing their idols in the Kaaba and preventing the Muslims from performing their salah therein. This was one of the reasons that forced the Muslims to migrate to Medina. When the Muslims tried to return to Mecca to perform Umrah, the Mushrikeen did not even allow them to enter the presence of Mecca. Eventually, the Muslims had to return without performing Umrah and were only allowed into Mecca the following year. Allah says about the Mushrikeen, these people may only enter therein in fear. There shall be humiliation in this world and a terrible punishment in the hereafter. This was foretold the conquest to Mecca by the Muslims. Whereafter the Mushrikeen feared entering the Masjidul Haram, the declaration was finally made that no Mushrik was ever to enter the Masjidul Haram again. Narrated by Malumat-e-Tanzil, Volume 1, page 107. Other commentators have mentioned that the verse referred to the Jews and the Christians who violated the sanctity of Baitul Muqaddas. Hadrat Mujahid Rahimullah says that the verse refers specifically to the Christians who used to throw harmful things into the Baitul Muqaddas and prevented people from performing salah there. Hazrat Qatada radiyallahu ta'ala says that the verse referred to the Romans who, because of their enmity for the Jews, assisted the fire worshipping Bakht Nasr to destroy Baitul Muqaddas. Hazrat Ka'b an Ahbar Rahimullah says that the Christians burnt Baitul Muqaddas after seizing control. Now any Christian entering there will do so in fear. Narrated by Darul Mansoor, Volume 1, page 108. Whatever the specific reference of the verse, the wording of the verse is general. The verse makes it clear that preventing Allah's name being taken in the masajid is an act of great injustice. It will be permissible to prevent such people from the masjid who have left the fold of Islam, that is, those who believe that another Nabi came after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Preventing their entry will not be regarded as preventing Allah's name being taken, because it will actually save others from kufr. When such a group of people were prevented from entering a masjid, they recited the above verse in their defense. Thereupon, a learned scholar recited to them the following verse of Surah Anam: who can be more unjust than he who invents lies against Allah and says, revelation came to me, when no revelation comes to him at all? And who can be more unjust than he who says, I shall soon reveal the like of what Allah has revealed? Verse 93. Some commentators have mentioned that the phrase, these people may only enter therein in fear, does not only apply to the Masjidul Haram, but to any masjid. Ibn Kasir, narrated by Volume 1, page 157. The author of Ruhul Mani writes that with Allah's grace, He has fulfilled His promise to grant victory to the Muslims. Therefore, a Christian may only enter Baitul Muqaddas in fear and disguise. Hazrat Qatada Rahimullah reports that any Christian found in Baitul Muqaddas is severely punished. Since the verse does not stipulate that the Muslim will remain in control over Baitul Muqaddas forever, none can raise the objection that the Christian crusades seized control of Baitul Muqaddas after with Salahuddin Ayyubi Rahimullah defeated them. Because of the weakness in the iman, deeds and strategy of Muslims, they lost control over the region. These people may only enter therein in fear. The author of Bayanul Quran interprets this verse to mean that these people ought never to ever enter Baitul Muqaddas without fear, let alone violate its sanctity. Violating its sanctity is the injustice referred to at the beginning of the verse. There shall be humiliation in this world and a terrible punishment in the hereafter. All those who prevented Allah's name being taken in the Masjidul Haram and Baitul Muqaddas suffered defeat at the hands of the Muslims. The Jews and the Christians had to pay jizya to the Muslims. However, they will suffer the worst punishment in the hereafter. Verse number 115. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَشْرِقُ وَالْمَغْرِبُ وَأَيْنَمَا تَوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَاسِعٌ أَلِيمٌ. To Allah belongs the east and the west. Wherever you turn, you will find Allah's presence. Undoubtedly, Allah is all-encompassing, all-knowing. Lubaman Nakul has recorded 3 narrations which provide reasons for the revelation for this verse. The common factor in all these narrations is that the Sahaba Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhum erred in determining the accurate direction of the Qibla, that either because of darkness of the night or overcast condition. They all performed their salah facing the direction they thought was most accurate in their estimation. Only when light returned did they realize how wrong they were. When they reported the matter to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he remained silent. It was then that Allah revealed the above verse. One of these narrations is reported in Tirmidhi. Like many other verses of the Quran, this verse denotes that every direction belongs to Allah, not only the east and west. Therefore, Allah reserves the right to stipulate any direction as a Qibla, a direction to face while praying to Allah. The being of Allah is not restricted to any place or direction. People have to face the direction that He ordains as their Qibla. Performing their salah in the stipulated direction will secure His pleasure. Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar Raziyallahu Ta'ala says that the above verse was revealed with regard to performing nafal, optional salah, while on a journey. While Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam traveled from Makkah to Medina, he performed nafal salah in the direction which the camel faced, narrated by Tirmidhi. Hazrat Ans bin Sareen Rahimullah reports that they received Hazrat Ans bin Malik Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu as he returned from Sham. When he reached a place called Aynatul Taimur, they noticed that he was performing salah while facing a direction that was completely deflected from the Qibla. When Hazrat Ans bin Sirin Rahimullah asked the Sahabi Hazrat Ans bin Malik Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu about this, the latter replied, I would have never done this if I had not seen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam do the same. Narrated by Muslim, Volume 1, page 244 and 245. Undoubtedly, Allah is all-encompassing, all-knowing. Some commentators have mentioned that Allah's knowledge encompasses everything, while others translate the word to mean that Allah is extremely lenient in His commands and passes such laws that people find easy to practice upon. Others translate the word to mean that Allah is extremely generous, while another group of commentators maintain that it means that Allah's mercy and forgiveness encompass all sins because He may forgive any of them. Narrated by Qurtubi, Volume 2, page 84. Ruhul Mani says that Allah's kingdom and mercy encompass everything, because of which He had made the matter of Qibla easy and flexible for people. He has knowledge of every action and will even reward the person who faces the wrong direction on condition that he performs salah solely for Allah's pleasure. Few rules are written here. 1. Facing the Qibla is one of the conditions of Salah. Salah will be unacceptable without facing the Qibla, unless fear of an enemy does not allow one to face the Qibla. In that case, any direction will suffice. That particular direction will then be regarded as a person's Qibla. 2. If an individual or a group reach a place where there is nobody to show them the direction of the Qibla, they should determine the direction as best as they can. Thereafter, each person should face the direction that he feels inaccurate. If once they have commanded Salah, someone informs them of the correct direction, they merely have to turn in that particular direction while still in Salah. They will not have to repeat their Salah nor start fresh. 3. It will not be necessary to repeat one salah if one finds out after the salah that the direction was incorrect. 4. If a group of Muslims cannot see each other due to intense darkness, each one may face the direction he deems correct. They will then be able to perform their salah in congregation even though they are all facing different directions. However, if any one of the followers know that the direction towards where the Imam is facing in contrary to the direction to which he is facing, then he will not be able to follow this Imam in Salah. The person to whose back the Imam faces will also not be regarded as part of the congregation after he is considered to be ahead of Imam. 5. When a person is traveling on a conveyance outside the boundaries of a town, he may perform nafal option salah in whichever direction that the conveyance is facing. He may continue his salah even though the conveyance changes direction. 6. First, compulsory salah can only be performed facing the Qibla. However, one is excused when performing salah in a place where there is none to inform him of the correct direction. Then too he will have to ponder deeply over the correct direction. Only after deliberation will be allowed to perform his salah. 7. People traveling by sea, spacious trains and aeroplanes can easily face Qibla when performing Salah. They can only face another direction if it is impossible to face the Qibla. A Qibla is necessary to attain unity when performing Salah. Without the Qibla, people will be facing in various directions, leading to much disturbance and disagreement. After migrating to Medina, the Muslims faced Baitul Muqaddas in Salah, whereafter the Qibla was changed to the Kaaba. The details of this will be given inshallah. Muslims do not worship the Kaaba but face the direction to achieve uniformity and concentration. Although they face the Kaaba, they worship Allah. It never crosses their minds that they are worshipping the Kaaba, unlike the idolaters who worship the idols they face. The fact that the Muslim face Baitul Muqaddas and the Kaaba shows that worship is reserved for Allah because the direction never really mattered to Allah, to whom belongs all directions. When Muslims throughout the world face the Kaaba in Salah, they face it from every direction, making all directions of the Kaaba or Qibla. This provides a clearer interpretation of the verse. Wherever you turn, you will find Allah's presence. Now, verse number 116. وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ وَلَدًا سُبْحَانَهُ بَلْ لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ كُلٌّ لَهُ قَانِتُونَ. They say Allah has taken a son. Allah is pure. To Him belongs whatever is in the heavens and the earth. All are subservient to Him. 117. بَدِيعُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَإِذَا كَذَا أَمْرٌ فَإِنَّمَا يَقُولُ لَهُ كُن فَيَكُونُ. The Creator of the heavens and the earth, when He decides a matter, all He says is be, and it is. Allah immediately refutes those who say that He has a child. When He says Allah is pure, the Jews said that Hazrat Uzair alayhi salam was Allah's son, while the Christians maintain that Hazrat Isa alayhi salam is Allah's son, as mentioned in verse 30 of Surah Tawbah. The mushrikeen of Makkah used to say that the angels are Allah's daughter. Allah says in Surah Bani Israel, "Has your Rabb chosen son only for you and taken the angels as his daughters? You are surely making a preposterous statement." Verse 40. Verse 19 of Surah Zukhruf mention, they make the angels who are Allah's bondsmen as females. Were they present at their creation, their claim will be recorded and they will be questioned. The Quran denies that Allah has any children, and the fact is made clear in Surah Ikhlas, where Allah says, He begs not, nor was the begotten. There is none comparable to Him. Verse 3 and 4. Verses 10 and 100 and 101 of Surah Anam state, "Yet they associate the jinn as partners to Allah, whereas He had created them, and they fabricate sons and daughters for Him without knowledge. He is pure from these things and exalted above what they ascribe. He created the heavens and the earth without a sample. How can He have children when He has no wife? He created everything and has knowledge of everything." Allah says in Surah Taha, they say, "Rahman has taken a child. You have certainly said a grave thing. The heavens may split asunder because of it. The earth may be cleaved open and the mountains may crash to pieces. All this because they ascribe children to Allah. It is not benefiting for Rahman to take children. Everything within the heavens and the earth shall come to Rahman as slave on the day of Qiyamah." Verse 88 till 93. Hazrat Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that Allah says, "The son of Adam has falsified me, whereas he should not do so. He swears me, whereas he should not. His falsification is that he says that I cannot resurrect him, whereas it is the same to me to create him the second time as I did the first time. His swearing is that he says that I have children, whereas I am pure from having a wife and children. I am the one, the independent, I beget not nor was begotten. There is none equal to me." Narrated by Bukhari, Volume 2, page 744. The above verse and hadith spell out clearly that Allah detests that people ascribe children to Him. If it were not for His extreme mercy and compassion, He would have destroyed the entire universe because of their shirk. Hazrat Abu Musa Ashari radiallahu ta'ala anhu reports that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "None is more forbearing that Allah is tolerating what people say. People say that Allah has children, yet He forgives them and even sustains them." Narrated by Mishkat, page 13. To Him belong whatever is in the heavens and the earth. All are subservient to Him. For any relationship to exist between Allah and those whom people refer to as His children, some similarly has to exist. However, no one ever be at all similar to Allah. Therefore, it is impossible for them to be His children. To ascribe children to Him will mean that He needs them, whereas Allah needs nothing. It will be tantamount to saying that He is not perfect and that He was defects. It is for this reason that in the hadith, ascribing children to Allah is described as swearing Him. The The creator of the heavens and the earth, Allah created the universe without a model, and He is the only being who is perfectly in control of it. When He decides a matter, all He says is be, and it is. This verse describes the majestical power of Allah. He does not require any means or material to create anything. His mere intention to create something is sufficient to ensure the existence of the thing in question. just as Allah does not require any means or matter. He does not only require any children and assistants. The function of children is to assist the parents and serve as the successor of their demise. Allah requires no assistance and will never die. He therefore has no need for children. Some commentators have mentioned that Allah literally says the word kun, translated above as be. People have objected to this by saying that it is not possible nor sensible to address something that is non existent. However, this objection is invalid because of the existence of the particular thing is not necessary for the address to take place. Many commentators say that Allah does not need to say kun. The term is merely an expression of the great speed with which Allah creates. Verse number 118. وقال الذين لا يعلمون لولا يكلمون الله أو تأتينا آيات كذلك قال الذين من قبلهم مثل قولهم تشابهت قلوبهم قد بينا الآيات لقوم يوقنون. Those without knowledge say, why does Allah not speak to us? Nor why do you not show us a sign? Those before them said exactly the same thing. Their hearts are alike. We have already expounded the signs for those who have conviction. It was common among various nations that they refuted the proofs and miracles shown to them by the Anbiya alayhi salam. Rather, they wanted to witness miracles that they demanded. One of their demand was that Allah should speak to them. They said, why does Allah not speak to us? Or why do you not show as a sign? Certain commentators have mentioned that the verse referred to a statement of a mushrikeen, while others say that it was a statement of the Jews and the Christians. If the verse refer to the mushrikeen, they fit well into the description of those without knowledge, because they are generally illiterate people. However, if the verse is assumed to refer to the Jews and the Christians, then those without knowledge would mean that they behave as if they had no knowledge. Those before them said exactly the same. Their hearts are alike. The people of previous nations also said the same thing to their Anbiya alayhi salam because they were just as obstinate and rebellious. We have already expounded the signs for those who have conviction. All the previous Anbiya alayhi salam as well as Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam performed numerous miracles for the people. However, those who do not wish to believe will not do so even if the truth is clear as daylight. Allah says in Surah Qamar, verse 2, even if they see miracles, they turn away saying, this is instant magic. Verse 109 of Surah Anam says, they swear solemn an oath by Allah that if any sign comes to them from Allah, they will definitely believe therein. Say, signs are only with Allah. How do you know that if the sign comes to them, they will still not believe? They only ask for a miracle because of their obstinacy, but they never really intend to believe if it is shown to them. Verse number 119. Inna arsalnaka bil haqqi bashiran wa naziran wa la tus'alu an ashabil jahim. Undoubtedly, we have sent you with the truth as a bearer of glad tidings and a warner. You will not be questioned about the people of the blaze. Allah addresses Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this verse, saying, undoubtedly we have sent you with the truth as a bearer of glad tidings and a warner. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's mission was to teach people the deeds of which they can enter into Jannah. He described these deeds to people and also warned them about the sins that will lead them to the doom of Jahannam. You will not be questioned about the people of the blaze. Here Allah consoles Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam by telling him that he should not be grieved about those who refuse to accept his message. His task was merely to propagate Islam. Allah is the one who can make people believe. Allah will not question Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the reason for rejection of the kufr. Allah says in Surah Ra'd, propagation will be your responsibility and reckoning ours. Verse 40. Verse 21 and 22 of Surah Ghashiyah reads, Remind for verily you are a reminder, you are not a warder unto them. Allah says in the concluding verse of Surah Kahf, we are best aware of what they say. You are not a tyrant over them. So remind with the Quran those who fear the threat. Verse 45. 120. وَلَن تَرْضَىٰ عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ وَلَا النَّصَارَىٰ حَتَّىٰ تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ قُلْ إِنَّ هُدَى اللَّهِ هُوَ الْهُدَىٰ وَلَنِ اتَّبَعْتَ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ بَعْدَ الَّذِي جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ مَا لَكَ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِن وَلِيٍّ وَلَا نَصِيرٍ. The Jews and the Christians will never be satisfied with you until you follow their religion. Say, guidance is only the guidance of Allah. If you were ever to follow their whims after the knowledge that has come to you, you will have no protecting friend nor any helper against Allah. Malumat-e-Tanzil, Volume 1, page 110, reports that the Jews and the Christians once proposed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he should compromise on certain principles and enter into a settlement with them, so that they could accept Islam. In purpose to this proposal, the above verse was revealed, where Allah says, the Jews and the Christians will never be satisfied with you until you follow their religion. Allama Qurtubi Rahimullah writes, Volume 2, page 93, that the verse tells Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that even if he has no reproduced the miracles that they demand from him, as mentioned in the previous verse, they will still never be satisfied till they forsake Islam and follows their religion. Say, guidance is only the guidance of Allah. Anything contrary to Allah's guidance will lead to distant deviation. Thereafter, Allah says, if you were ever to follow their whims after the knowledge that has come to you, you will have to no protecting friend nor any helper against Allah. Although the verse is addressed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it actually appeals to his ummah because it was impossible for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to follow any other religion. The demand of Iman is that the mu'min should strive only to please Allah. Even though it may earn the displeasure of others, trying to satisfy others at the expense of Allah's pleasure is foolish and detrimental. It is tragic that the Muslims in today's time attempt to imitate the ways and manners of the kuffar. They feel no shame in shaking hands with a strange woman and even feel proud to wear the tie. In doing all this, they feel that their kuffar colleagues will be pleased with them. Otherwise, they feel that they will be ridiculed. It is extremely sad that they hanker after praise from the Jews and Christians even though they earn Allah's displeasure. They fail to realize that these few deeds will never satisfy the kuffar. The kuffar will be satisfied only when the Muslims has converted to their religion. Muslims do not need praise from the kuffar because they already have the accolade of being believers from amongst the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Securing honor from the kuffar will lead to disgrace in both the worlds. Allah says in Surah Nisa, do they seek honor from them, the kuffar? All honor belongs only to Allah. Verse 139. The verse said that the Jews and the Christians will not be satisfied until the Muslims follow their religion. The word deen, religion, is a singular, whereas the Jews and Christians follow different religions. Therefore, one would expect that the word religions be used instead. Commentators have mentioned that Allah has used the word as a singular to denote that all of the kuffar belong to various denominations and religions, they all share the common factor of kufr. Therefore, there actually exists only one religion, that is Islam. Sorry, there, there actually exist only two religions, that are Islam and Kufr. It is also no acknowledgement fact that all religious groups are unite as allies to fight Islam, making them one team. Worse is the fact that many so-called Muslims sector, but whose beliefs are un-Islamic, are also plotting to destroy Muslim countries. The above verse informs Muslims that they should never compromise any Islamic principles to please the kuffar, because Islam is not a man-made religion but a code of life ordained by Allah. Muslims have no right to alter any Islamic principles. The kuffar alter their religions because their religion is a product of their own doing. The law of Islam cannot be changed even if some people collectively try to do so. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.